talking Reds, Neil Atkinson, John Gibbons. We do this Friday Q&A now where we let the listeners/viewers decide what we're talking about. But forget that. I haven't seen you since you've got back. How's Paris?
I had a really good time, mate. Yeah, it was a good laugh. Did 2 days, drank a lot of French wine, ate some good food.
How was the wine?
Good, yeah, it's excellent, isn't it? Famously, it is. Yeah, it was good. So we got stuck into everything French. One of the boys had snails.
Snails?
Yeah, mixed reviews, I think it's fair to say.
So it was one of the boys, but you shared them out and everyone had a little bit of a taste.
Yeah.
Lad? Was a lot of people going lad?
Not sure. but you know, people characterise football fans, you know what I mean? But escargot in Paris, the lads got stuck in. But no, I had a really good time. Saw a lot of people I knew, and the ground is impressive, and they make quite a racket. You know what I mean?
Came over on the telly, to be fair.
I think sometimes with, you know, because you associate, you know, Paris now being like, you know, like the Man City kind of thing, really, isn't it? It's a rich club, sort of, you know what I mean, and sort of not like, you know, you're not necessarily associated with the passionate fan base, but they have got it, and yeah, they were made up to win, which was quite nice to see as well. I think if a team are going to beat us, I want them to be made up. Do you know what I mean?
Well, they were made up on and off the pitch. Someone said to me, why are you surprised about that? It wouldn't have mattered if it was Red Star. I think it did matter that it was us. I think they really wanted to land one on Liverpool.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, the Champions League for them, they looked like they were going to break through, and then the last couple of years, they haven't got past the last 16. So beating good teams is a bit of a problem for them, and I think there's maybe a chat to be had about, you know, whether their league kind of sets you up for it, whether it has the right levels of intensity. I mean, they were certainly intense, weren't they? Tuchel's got them playing a very, very intense brand of football. I think that's why they've got a perfect record at the moment in the French league, is because that manager doesn't seem to want them to let up at any point. And so they were very good. Liverpool couldn't quite match them on the night, but set it up for Napoli, as I said in the post-match show.
You're excited about Napoli, aren't you?
I am. I did a bit of audio for our, so we do a post-match show that Neil hosts, and he hosted it here, but we did a bit of audio from Paris for it. I couldn't really remember what it sort of said, but apparently it was along the lines of get out early and often earlier than Napoli.
So as part of the Anfield Ops professionalism, I couldn't listen to it because I was in a bar.
Okay.
So all I could hear was some degree of noise and occasionally Craig Hannon shouting when I was trying to listen to it. So there was no, I'll be dead honest, I just trusted you. There wasn't like a quality control process because I couldn't have edited it because I'd said, and now I'm handing over to John. Yeah. So I couldn't, because by virtue of the fact that I was in a bar and I couldn't hear your bit, I couldn't hear my bit either. So I thought, I'm just going to take a flyer on this, it'll be sound.
And it was, I think.
Yeah, people broadly speaking have thought it was. Broadly speaking. Shall we do some questions? Do you want to do some questions?
Right, okay. So, Duck Sheen, why is it King Mo seems to be struggling against the so-called big teams to score?
Space, I think that, you know, the doubling, even tripling up on them. When I looked at the average positions for our review show, one of the things that I saw was that effectively Paris Saint-Germain's left back, even though he gets on the score sheet, Bernat, he doesn't actually push forward anywhere near as much as the right-hand sided player. And as part of that, the left-hand Kimpembe, I think it is, pulled left and was really quite far out between the two of them, and then other lads shuttling across to help out. They just squeeze Salah's space. So I think that's an issue. But I think again the same thing sort of needs to apply, which is that it wasn't as though around this time last season Salah was banging them in against the bigger sides, with the possible exception of Arsenal. For instance, he has that poor game in September against Manchester City where he doesn't hit the back of the net, and a couple of people are worried. It was around this fixture, the Merseyside Derby last season, where Salah began to really hit his stride. So I'm quite relaxed about that at the minute. I think that there's more to come from these lads.
Yeah, and I think generally it's harder to score against bigger teams because you've got less of the ball, as you say. It's a space issue, and I think, you know, if you think about how many great players have come to Anfield and struggled, and it's not because the bad players, or it's not because they're overhyped or whatever, it's because, you know, it is difficult going away to a big team and being able to, you know, I used to remember, you know, Cristiano Ronaldo when he come from Man United and come to Anfield, and I'd always be dead worried about him, and then he never seemed to score. And you know, he did pretty well for us against Real Madrid, as should be said, and he's, you know, one of sort of the best players of all time, really. But I remember, at least at Manchester United anyways, his record sort of at Anfield, you know, I can't even remember him getting one, and so it is difficult for all these players, really. And I think it's a rare player who does do better in the big games, because, as you say, it's much more cagey, and you know, you're just trying to get something out of it. it.
Indeed. Do you want to do the next one? I'm intrigued if you're going to go right or down on the list.
I'll go right.
Okay.
It's Liam or Noel. I presume you mean Gallagher.
Yeah, not that fussed by either, frankly. So I'm not the best person to ask that. Liam or Noel?
Well, I was always Noel, but Liam's come into his own quite well recently, I feel. You know, he's aging without any dignity, which I quite like.
That's I mean, look at you and I.
So yeah, so after 20 solid years of Noel, he's much better in the film. The film about Oasis, Liam he's good value in that. So he's sneaking ahead of me affections at the moment.
Okay, next one.
But don't tell Noel. If you weren't part of tour, what would you be doing? I don't know if that means right now.
Maybe it is right now. I might be still working in shipping. I might be trying to make films happen. I might be writing something somewhere in a variety of different forms. One of those three. I'm probably all three of those three, if I'm absolutely honest with you. What about you?
I was working in market research and enjoyed it, so maybe still doing that. Yeah, probably just sort of still doing that. I used to like my job, but obviously this one's a bit better. It's about footy, and I get to see you every day.
Oh, I tell you what, how gorgeous. The bromance continues. He's left me for Craig Cannon for a while, but I'll pull him back in eventually.
Like Liam and Noel.
Like Liam and Noel.
Henderson crisis. I mean, he hasn't got a question mark there, but I'm going to say there's a question mark.
Okay, what's his name?
Smits-Modi.
Smits-Modi.
Yeah.
Okay. I'd say more Fabinho question mark than Henderson crisis. In that, well, firstly, Henderson can't play this weekend, so that's a bit of a blow for the Merseyside Derby. And I think that everyone keeps saying Fabinho, it's like Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain. So it's like Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain. The thing about Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain was that he never got a pre-season. We signed him on the 31st against Arsenal, and the 31st of August, went right the way through, and that's when he came in. And I think that this is the difference on this, is that Fabinho's been here since the 1st of July. And I keep saying to people, when I'm asking them to do preview shows and I'm asking them to pick teams, and they don't pick Fabinho, and I keep saying, well, when are you going to pick him? Yeah. Because I say, you're not going to pick him against Everton, you're going to pick him against Burnley, and everyone goes, well. And I'm like, well, if you're not going to pick him against Everton, you're not going to pick him against Burnley. I definitely don't want to pick him against Bournemouth. I mean, you know, the manager, the Arsenal manager Emery went out of his way not to pick Ozil because he was worried about the pace of the game against Bournemouth. So you want to make that Fabinho's next Premier League start? I think we have got to start mildly worrying about Fabinho. I would pick him in the Merseyside Derby. I don't get to see him in training. The manager does, and he hasn't been selecting him. But I'd pick him in the Merseyside Derby in a 4-2-3-1 alongside Wijnaldum. I would probably do that, and I might even play Keita, but right up in the 10, or do something like that. But I will pick him in the Merseyside Derby. But I think that's what Liverpool have been waiting for. But it's also worth saying, I think that middle position in that midfield three, when it's that flat three, is rock hard, and it'll make every footballer who plays it at some point look a divvy. It happened to Fabinho at Arsenal. It will make every footballer who has to play there at some point look daft, because the manager asks so much of it. What we ask Fabinho or Henderson to do in that position is not what Man City are asking Fernandinho to do, or what Chelsea are asking Jorginho to do. They're all different things, and I think that's what we've got to sort of acknowledge. It's not the idea you just sit in front of the back four and let the game come on to you. The manager doesn't want that.
Okay, just do the last two very quickly. Do you see us going through to the knockout stages of the Champions League? That's Ollie Neal.
Yes, we're all going to get out at 3 p.m. against Napoli.
Yeah, and that'll help. And the notorious Kilco prediction for the shite on Sunday. Hashtag LFC.
I think that Liverpool are going to win the game 3-1.
Sounds good to me. I think 2-0.
2-0. Okay, well, we previewed that as part of our YouTube offering, so that is to come up now as a YouTube video, so it's, as a clip at the end of this, and then you can also see that whole preview. It was a fantastic show. It had Johnny Milburn talking Liverpool in general. It had me doing a little tactics thing about how Everton are going to set up. Kev Walsh and Fuad Hassan were brilliant. Friday's show was a belter, an absolute belter yesterday. That's out right now. Also, the Weekend of Free show is out too, and there was an excellent review, me and Sean Rogers, getting stuck into Paris Saint-Germain. Today, still to come, there'll be the team talk with Josh Sexton. There will be an AFQ that is coming up as well. I'm hoping to speak to Rory Smith, although I keep moving it. Normally Rory moves me. At the minute I'm moving Rory, which is, a nice place to be, and only if it was a romantic setting it'd be even better. There is so much going on the Anfield wrap. It is very much worth subscribing to, £5 a month. We've got the derby coming at the weekend. We'll have a post-match show immediately afterwards, and we start the whole rigmarole again next week, because this is an exciting time to be a Liverpool supporter. The season's coming alive in front of our very eyes. We may not always like the way in which it comes alive, but that's the nature of sport itself. Come and enjoy it with us.
we showed Watford a lot of respect, and rightfully so, because they're a good football team, but they were playing at home. Yeah. And everyone knew what was going to happen. We knew the first half we were going to have to earn your right to play football type of thing. Whereas at Anfield, you're not going to have to do that. If you get dragged into a little bit of a war of attrition with them, that's very much playing to their hands, I think. I think what I prefer is go out, you don't have to, like, it doesn't have to be blitzkrieg.
It doesn't be responsible.
Yeah, but by the same token, I'd be going all out to get a goal as early as I possibly can. Because one goal for us, I think that just kills their game plan. Their game plan's got to be, get to 70 at 0-0 and see what we can do then. Because I'd be very surprised if they come out and go, okay, let's have a little 15-minute goal of attacking in the first half. If they get to 0-0 at half time, I think they'll be delighted with that. And that'll work in their favour. They can get in there, they can hunker down, and maybe put a little tactical plan to get at whatever they've spotted. Because listen, Silva's a good manager. If we go out and get the goal early, I think that just puts that all to bed for them. And if we get one, I can see us getting 4 or 5.
Prediction?
5-0.
Ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. Prediction?
1-0 Van Dijk.
1-0 Van Dijk.
Yeah.
I tell you what, I like both outcomes. Both outcomes will be a lovely Sunday afternoon/evening. It's going to be fantastic. A Merseyside Derby in December. It's going to be the business. A Liverpool win will absolutely, well, it'll ensure that we stay in touch with Manchester City, but it'll mean that the city remains as red as ever. Let's see how we go.